What is up, Mars citizens and rebel colonists? I am just a simple new type, and we are continuing the history of Mars Century as we begin our coverage of Mobile Suit Gundam Wing Frozen Teardrop Volume 5. Last time, we completed the Requiem of Perpetual Chain arc, where we learned about Father Maxwell's past. Cyrene Wynn took back his daughter, Naina, and two Epions faced off. This time, we begin the Nocturne in Mourning arc, and dive into the Peacecraft Files. Here we will learn about the twin sisters, Sabrina and Katerina Peacecraft, and we learn more about the politician, Heero Yui. So let's get into this. MC0022 next winter. We shift perspectives to Millie Peacecraft right after he and Naina saved Katerina from Snow White and Warlock. Cyrene Wynn joins the battle in the Tall Geese Heaven. There really isn't too much about this unit, but we know that this is probably an updated version of Tall Geese Flugel, which is from Glory of the Losers. It also has the Nano Defensors, which Katerina thinks is old technology from after colony times. This is most likely the evolution of the planet defensor seen on Mercurius and the Virgos. Naina mentions that this is an autonomous unit, but when humans use it, it collects data and sends it back to the pilot, creating a feedback loop that provides optimal maneuvers. I don't know if I like that. One thing that I love about Gundam Wing is that there is no evolutionary or technological advantage. They're just better than you, and you gotta deal with that. There's something to that, I think. Cyrene Wynn is destroying dozens of Mars suits. The kids also spot Katerina Peacecraft's ship. They are certain their mother Noin is with her. While this is all going down, Millie is getting down on a sandwich. He says, "You should really get down on this." Naina knows that Sister Hildy, before the orphanage, was working with the Lana Green Republic, where she collected data regarding old records, when suddenly the fake Zex Marquise comes along. They have a hologram that was supposed to activate the moment Disnoof Neuenheim died. This is Epion's old Zero system converted into a hologram. Katerina thinks that this is Hildy's doing, but Naina isn't sure. They wonder if this is a part of the Perfect Peace program. That is when Relina and Noin board their ship and say that it is the opposite. Noin hands the kids microchips. She says that one is a copy from the Preventor's base, and the other is a file Dr. Schweiker sent them. When added to their Zex Files hologram, it will provide them with a new historical record. Relina says to call these the Peacecraft Files. Millie notes that the first file is AC-130, even before his parents were born. There are many records containing the name Heero Yui. Heero Yui firmly opposed the United Earthsphere Alliance. Millie says that this will probably fill in the gaps of what fueled Heero Yui during his prime. Spoiler, it's a woman. Naina takes control of the hovercraft as Millie dives into the files. AC-130 to 144. The Sank Kingdom was located in Europe. Remember, in the anime, it's vaguely described as being kind of near Brussels. Two sisters were born, Princess Sabrina and Princess Katerina. However, the Sank Kingdom forebode twins. So Sabrina stayed in the Sank Kingdom, while Katerina was sent to the colony L1C11234. Ugh, that's worse than 12345 as your password, dude. Someone got lazy. Sabrina seemed to suffer more as she had to hold up the Peacecraft lineage. It was also a geopolitical nightmare, as many tried to push in on the Sank Kingdom territory. The people of the Sank Kingdom never revolted, and Sabrina acted as a rock for her people. Sabrina rarely left the Peacecraft estate and only confided in her cat Sam. Princess Katerina led a carefree life, being raised by the Darlian family. Katerina was helping build the colony at age 13. Meanwhile, Sabrina was constantly rebuilding her land after its constant attacks. Rather than being weighed down by gravity, Sabrina is weighed down by tragedy, as the author puts it. Katerina was 15 when she met Heero Yui. He was a new tutor for the Darlian household. Oh, gross. He was only 5 years older than she was. She didn't think that she could learn anything from him, so their lessons were mostly silence. Heero also worked in colony construction to help cover the expenses. 6 years earlier, there was a bunch of laborers trying to establish independence, but was swiftly squandered by the Earth Sphere Alliance. Even with all of this, it seemed to be better than life on Earth, at least if you're not a noble person. And there's no natural disasters. While conflict constantly occurred on Earth, the colonies started to see stabilization, which infuriated the Earth Sphere Alliance. Heero's college campus was active with anti-alliance sentiments. Heero Yui wasn't interested, however. His friend Jay Knoll, aka Dr. J, tried to recruit him, but then he decided to take a leave of absence from school, which is when he became a tutor. After a week of doing nothing, Katerina asks why we exist in space. Heero finally pays her attention. He asks, "Do you mean technologically or philosophically?" She isn't sure. Heero then goes on explaining how living in space can be an evolutionary achievement. However, there seems to be no difference in humans on Earth and humans in space from a philosophical standpoint. Evolutionary achievement in the form of social Darwinism. No physical evolution here like new types. Heero Yui shows that he doesn't teach people who lack curiosity or passion. The moment Katerina became curious is the moment he began teaching. This all leads to them having sex, so it's kind of weird. She says, yeah, but does this matter or mean anything? Katerina is all about having direct answers to things, but she isn't going to get a solid answer to the meaning of life. He simply says that the conversations are more interesting than the answers. They end lessons for the day. The next day, she asks if God exists. He goes on talking about metaphysics. Katerina doesn't get it. Heero says not knowing and admitting this provides more value than a lack of curiosity. Their conversations grew from there. For Heero, he felt like he was falling into what the author describes as a utilitarian rut, but Katerina's curiosity pulled him out of it. He goes on to describe meaning for oneself, which is essentially existentialism. A letter that Katerina writes would go on to inspire Heero Yui's Heart of Space declaration. The files say that they were merely teacher and student, but it speculates that they were lovers. AC 145, Summer. A rebel fleet imposed a naval blockade and set the stage for another attempt to take the Sank Kingdom. During this time, a special forces unit stormed the estate and held the royal family hostage. Luckily, Sabrina was visiting a relative, Marquise Wareridge, at the time. Wareridge suggests she go up into space for now. There is an informant in their inner circle. There is probably nowhere on Earth that she could trust. She decides to go find her sister, Katerina. They head to Brussels, where many other noble families are trying to flee. Because there were so many people, the Alliance wouldn't allow them all to go to space. Wareridge speaks to Duke Sank Kingdom, and he allows Sabrina to join their shuttle. She can't take cats into space, so she has to leave Sam with Wareridge. They are first heading to the L4 cluster to meet with the Winter family. They will then head to L2, then L1, where they could go to C11234. She was smuggled into the colonies under the assumption that she is Duke Kushina's niece. AC 145, Autumn. Before they left for the L1 colony cluster, Sank told Sabrina that she could live on L2, but she was determined to go on L1. He made a promise with Wareridge, so he gives her a spacesuit. He says the shuttle is going to blow up before it reaches L1. It will be blamed on random rebel terrorists, but it is a ruse to stir up controversy. He says war is coming. The Sank Kingdom has more or less fallen and are currently stooping to using rebel support, going against their peace ideology. She wonders when Earth will be unified. The Duke says, I think my grandson will handle it. She asks, what about the other people on the shuttle? Duke Kushina says they are old guard and they need to go. She thinks that she should just stay on the shuttle and die as she has nothing more to live for. They approach L1. It has been 6 months since they started their lessons and Heero had the day off. He was working construction when Katerina came to visit. She wonders if humans will ever evolve living in space. Dude, I'm at my other job, why are we doing this? He says that it will most likely take dozens of generations. Remember, at this point, people still believe that giving birth in space is dangerous. He tells her to go away. That is when they notice a shuttle. Suddenly, an explosion goes off. Heero protects Katerina from the shards. He moves in and finds 2 capsules. He saves one containing Sabrina. The one with the Duke heads to a different colony. She tells him to leave her alone, but he ignores her pleas and saves her. While saving her, he disables his communication box. They have to get back to the colony quickly. Katerina comes over to see if Heero is okay. That is when she introduces herself as Sabrina Peacecraft. Katerina has never met her sister, but she knew this was her name. AC 145, Winter. The Earth delegation explosion was indeed blamed on terrorists. After that, Duke Kushina proclaimed that Earth and the colonies would no longer work together. Because of this, the colonies think about a collective alliance amongst themselves. Tensions grew high, and it was all because this was engineered to sow dissent between Earth and the colonies. Rebel forces in the Sank Kingdom continued their fighting on Earth. The phrase early resolution is a mantra used during the after-colony era. This was twisted into meaning, well, we might as well nuke them so we could end this swiftly. The public in general during this time cared more about ending conflict, more so than protecting human life. The media fueled this. Sabrina ended up being taken in by the Darlene household. However, because of the Sank Kingdom and new taxes, they are effectively poor and most of their properties have been sold off. Also in this colony, the middle class's wealth is redistributed. What about the lower and upper class? Socialism towards the middle class will drive people towards poverty, it seems. But I think that is the point here. It is to prevent noble families from growing in the colonies like on Earth. Katerina could no longer afford her tutor, and Heero Yui would be let go. Sabrina closed herself off, but still played the piano. Even with all of this depression, she can sense something between Katerina and Heero. Sabrina joins in on Heero's final lessons, but she ends up crying about wanting to see her cat. Heero consoles her, making Katerina jealous. Sabrina and Katerina never really had a familial relationship. They never consoled one another. Katerina thinks of Heero's teachings, and she decides to open up to Sabrina. She asks what she wants to be. Sabrina says she wants to live a quiet life and play the piano. Katerina wants to be an astronaut, but it requires one to be rich, and the Darlians are now poor. The two started to understand one another. And that will do it for this episode. Two sisters that were once a part of a great family now come together seeking answers in this universe. Meanwhile, Heero Yui went from apathetic to gaining a spark of motivation from Katerina. However, we haven't seen him make the jump into politics just yet. Next time, we will conclude Volume 5. Heero will return to school where Dr. J is working on a prototype for what will become the Zero System, and Katerina will end up piloting it. But that will do it for now, new types. Try not to fall in love with your teacher. Peace.